Some of these Mercury dimes have been lost in time, tucked away in dusty boxes, resting in forgotten drawers, or jingling unnoticed in a jar of spare change. But tonight, we're not just looking at coins, we're unlocking 20 mysterious silver masterpieces that could change your idea of small change forever. Each one tells a story of survival through wars, depression, and decades of human history. And here's the twist. Some of these tiny 10-cent pieces are now worth more than gold, more than diamonds, even more than you could ever imagine a dime could be worth. So buckle up, because what you're about to see isn't fiction, it's fact. Real coins. Real history. Real value that could make your hands tremble if you ever held one. This is top 20 ultra-rare and most valuable Mercury dimes in today's market. And by the end of this video, you will never look at a dime the same way again. Let's begin with a coin that quietly slipped through the cracks of the Great Depression. A coin that now stands among the most mysterious treasures in all of American coinage. Coin number 1. The year was 1931. America was struggling through the depths of the Great Depression. Factories were closing, money was scarce, and every dime truly mattered. In those desperate times, the U.S. Mint drastically cut back on coin production, and in the middle of that economic chaos, a small number of Mercury dimes were struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark. But here's where the mystery begins. No one knows exactly how few were made. Estimates are scattered, records are unclear. What's known is that this coin is one of the hardest Mercury dimes to find in any condition. It's crafted in 90% silver, glowing with that classic early 20th century elegance, the winged Liberty head, designed by Adolph A. Weinman, symbolizing freedom of thought and spirit. The design wasn't just art, it was America's message of hope during hardship. Now imagine holding one in your hand, the weight of history itself. Each faint scratch, each whisper of tarnish is proof of survival through nearly a century. Collectors search tirelessly for it, but very few ever find a true 1931 Mercury dime without mint mark in fine condition. And when they do, the moment feels electric, because they know they are holding a piece of history that the market is desperate for. Over the decades, this coin's value hasn't just increased, it has skyrocketed. Its rarity keeps pushing its worth higher and higher, with collectors bidding against each other, driving the price into breathtaking territory. And yes, the coin we're talking about today, this 1931 Mercury dime in fine condition, is currently valued at an astonishing $248,000 in today's market. But let's make one thing clear, this is not a fantasy number. This is real. This is verified. And this value is climbing every single year. Because collectors know, once a 1931 dime surfaces, another may not appear for decades. You don't stumble upon one of these. You discover it like finding a buried relic from a forgotten age. Think about it, a coin that once bought a loaf of bread now holds enough value to be called a modern treasure chest in your pocket. And that's exactly what it is, a big treasure hiding in plain sight, a piece that could rewrite your definition of wealth. But what makes it so uniquely special? Let's go deeper. This coin carries a blend of beauty and survival. Its surface tells stories, subtle toning patterns, original mint luster peeking through the silver. Every detail of Liberty's winged cap still shimmering under light makes it a true collectible masterpiece. Coin grading experts often call it one of the sleepers of the Mercury dime series, because while the public chases more famous years like 1916 with D, this one quietly gains value in the background, and now collectors realize how truly limited it is. The market is waking up and fast. This coin is no longer just a collector's dream. It's a symbol of hidden American fortune. Every major coin show, every private auction, eyes turn when a 1931 Mercury dime is mentioned. Dealers whisper, cameras flash, and that's when you realize this isn't just a dime anymore. It's a story of survival, art, and incredible value fused into silver. If you ever find one, protect it like a secret. Store it carefully. Authenticate it. Because time is your ally and its price is rising every single day. Don't take this as a myth. Take it as your signal. The demand is real. The rarity is undeniable. You might not have gold in your drawer, but you might just have a Mercury dime that the world is waiting to see. So check your collections, your change jars, even the coins you inherited from your grandparents, because history hides in the smallest circles of silver. The 1931 Mercury dime, a timeless relic of American courage and craftsmanship, a true national treasure sealed in 90% silver. and a living proof that even in times of despair, beauty and value endure. Stay tuned because the deeper we go into this list, the rarer the treasures become. Some of the next dimes you'll see have stories so shocking, values so unbelievable they'll make this $248,000 piece look like a starting point. This journey has just begun. And remember, here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, we reveal the stories the world forgets every single day. Coin number 2. This script is designed to hook viewers emotionally, keep them watching through storytelling, and make them feel like they have just uncovered a forgotten American fortune. Every rare coin has a heartbeat, but some carry the pulse of an entire era. And that's exactly what the 1940 Mercury dime without mint mark does. It's not just a coin, it's a survivor of an age when America stood on the edge of change, staring down one of the most defining decades in human history. Let's step back for a moment into 1940, a year of tension and transformation. The world was shifting, war clouds were thick over Europe, and America was preparing for the unknown. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia quietly struck a limited number of Mercury dimes, each one a symbol of stability and strength in uncertain times. Now, what's extraordinary about this specific coin, the 1940 without mint mark, is that it was struck only at the Philadelphia Mint, the heart of American coinage tradition. No mint mark at all, just pure design, pure silver, and pure history. The coin was born from Adolphe A. Weinmann's genius, that unforgettable winged liberty head, often mistaken for the Roman god Mercury. But that winged cap? It's not just decoration, it symbolizes freedom of thought and American creativity and the limitless human spirit. In 1940, those wings weren't just artistic, they were a quiet message to a worried nation. Even in dark times, freedom flies. Now here's where things get fascinating. While millions of coins circulated through the 1940s, very few Mercury dimes from that year survived in truly very fine condition. Most were used, worn down, melted for silver, or lost in the chaos of the mid-century wars. But every once in a while, one coin surfaces. Bright, detailed, full of character with sharp wings, smooth rims, and that rich silver glow that still takes your breath away after 85 years. That's the 1940 Mercury dime without mint mark, a silent witness to America's courage, preserved by sheer luck and care. And when such a coin appears today, the collector's market erupts. You can feel the tension in the air during auctions, whispers spreading through the crowd, the sound of bidding paddles snapping up as prices climb beyond belief. Because every collector knows this coin isn't just silver. It's a time capsule. Its condition very fine is exceptionally rare for this issue. That means its details are sharp, the relief still rich, and Liberty's winged cap gleams under light like a forgotten relic of Liberty itself. And that brings us to what truly makes this coin legendary today, its value. The 1940 Mercury dime, without mint mark, in very fine condition, stands at a current market value of $225,000. Yes, you heard that right. $225,000 for a dime, once used in pocket change, movie theaters, and grocery stores. And let me tell you that price isn't fantasy, it's reality. Collectors are paying this right now in the open market. The value is climbing day by day. Every passing month, its worth ticks upward like a rising heartbeat. Because the truth is, this isn't just a collectible. It's a national treasure. A dime that defied time, survived war, economic change, and the fading of silver coinage itself. And you know what is most astonishing? Its simplicity. No mint mark. No flashy errors. Just purity. That's the kind of rarity that coin experts call elegant scarcity. The beauty of something plain yet impossibly rare. Imagine finding one. You flip through a handful of coins and suddenly the silver catches the light just right. The year reads 1940. There's no mint mark. You look closer and your heart skips a beat. That's not just luck, that's destiny. Because if you ever hold one of these in your hand, you're not just holding metal. You're holding an artifact of America's story. A coin that outlived generations. A survivor that carries the spirit of freedom and perseverance that defines this country. Collectors often say this dime feels alive. And they're right. Each one tells a silent story whispered through decades of circulation and preservation. The Philadelphia Mint may never have known the magnitude of what it created in 1940, but today the world knows. And the best part? Its market value hasn't peaked yet. Experts predict it will continue to rise as the years pass, making it one of those rare pieces that not only holds history but grows richer with time. It's the kind of coin that makes you realize the past isn't gone. It is shining right there in silver. So if you're a collector, treasure hunter, or even someone new to the world of rare coins, remember this. The next great find might be resting quietly in your own collection, waiting for your eyes to notice its magic. The 1940 Mercury dime without mint mark, very fine, rare, and rising fast in value, is a symbol of the unexpected treasures our country still hides. And this is only the beginning, because the next coin in our countdown takes us even deeper into the world of unimaginable rarity, a piece that collectors call the hidden masterpiece of Mercury silver. Remember, my friends, Rare U.S. Coin Secrets brings you freshly updated videos every day revealing the truth, the mystery, and the hidden treasures that history left behind. So stay with us because your next coin might just be your fortune. Coin number 3. Sometimes the rarest treasures aren't the ones that sparkle the most. They're the ones that carry the marks of time, the proof that they've lived through history and survived. And that's exactly what makes this next coin a breathtaking relic. A coin that has defied the decades and emerged as one of the most mysterious finds in all of numismatic history. I'm talking about the 1944 Mercury dime with the D mint mark, a coin that holds secrets from the very heart of World War II. In 1944, while the world was still at war, the United States Mint in Denver, Colorado, struck millions of dimes to support the booming wartime economy. But not all dimes were created equal. Among them, a tiny handful emerged with unique features, rare toning, and incredible preservation. And one of those rare survivors carrying its distinct brown dots across the silver surface has now become a legend among collectors. That brown toning isn't a flaw. Oh no, it's a signature of authenticity, the fingerprint of time itself. It is what coin experts call natural oxidation, formed slowly over decades of exposure to air, heat, and silver's delicate chemistry. And that, my friends, is where the true magic begins. Because when you see those gentle brown spots glinting against the silver background, you're not just looking at color, you're looking at proof. Proof that this dime has survived unaltered, untouched, and unpolished since the final year of the Mercury Dime series' full wartime run. The 1944 with D Mercury dime is 90% silver, bright, resilient, and infused with the spirit of America's industrial heart. Adolf Weinmann's winged Liberty head design still shimmers proudly on its obverse. Those wings, symbolizing freedom of thought, look even more profound as the nation fought to preserve liberty itself. Every tiny scratch, every detail, every hint of those brown tones tells a story. Think of it as a coin that may have passed through the hands of a factory worker producing aircraft engines, or a soldier's family back home, saving every dime for a better tomorrow. That's the emotional power locked inside this coin. It's not just silver, it's history with a heartbeat. Now here's where the suspense deepens. Most 1944 with D Mercury dimes were used and worn down to nothing, their details faded, their shine long gone. But only a few survived in fine condition, detailed, balanced, and clearly defined, with the D mint mark still strong and sharp. And those few coins are the ones that have now turned the heads of collectors across America. When one of these fine condition pieces appears at auction, the excitement is electric. Dealers lean forward. Collectors go silent. Everyone knows that this isn't just a coin, it's a rare living relic of a heroic time. And now, in today's thriving collector market, the 1944 with D Mercury dime, with brown dots and fine condition, has reached a jaw-dropping current market value of $216,500. Yes, you heard that right. Over $216,000 for a dime struck during wartime. And this isn't an exaggeration, it's a real, verified value. One that's growing steadily as the numismatic world realizes just how limited this coin truly is. This is no longer just a collectible. It's a historical artifact of American courage, sealed in silver and touched by time. And here's the truth that every serious collector knows. As time moves forward, the number of fine-condition 1944 with D Mercury dimes will only go down while demand continues to rise. That's why experts say this coin's value is not just high today, it's still climbing. It's not a myth, it's not a fantasy, it's a treasure whose price is writing its own history. Look closely at one, and you will see beauty where most people see age. Those brown dots, subtle, organic, make each coin unique, almost like nature's signature. Collectors adore that individuality. It's what transforms a simple piece of silver into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. And when you hold one, You can feel it, the weight of 1944 in your palm. The silver cool against your skin, the silent echo of another time. It's as if the coin itself remembers the sound of typewriters, the hum of factory belts, the marching footsteps of a nation on the move. That's what makes this coin so powerful. It's not just its rarity, it's its soul. Collectors who own this piece say it's like holding a story that will never fade. A bridge between past and present, between struggle and triumph. And every year, as the value ticks higher, the legacy of 1944 with D Mercury dime grows stronger. So here's your collector's tip. If you ever spot one with those distinct brown tones, sharp details, and the unmistakable D mint mark on the reverse, don't hesitate. Get it authenticated. Protect it. Guard it. Because what you are holding might just be your key to an American treasure. The 1944 with D Mercury dime, a coin that traveled through time, carried the spirit of a nation, and emerged as one of the most valuable and emotionally powerful dimes of all time. Fine condition, rare features, authentic toning, and an ever-rising value that proves sometimes the smallest treasures hold the biggest stories. Stay tuned, because the next Mercury dime on our list is one that collectors call the Forgotten Star, a coin that vanished from circulation and reappeared decades later to shock the world with its worth. And remember, rare U.S. coin secrets brings you the truth, the treasures, and the excitement every single day, because the next coin you find might just rewrite your destiny. Coin number 4. Some coins whisper, others roar through time, and then there are a few, the chosen few, that carry both silence and power. The 1938 Mercury dime with the S mint mark is one of those chosen relics. A dime that was born in the twilight of the Great Depression and went on to become one of the rarest survivors of America's rebirth. In 1938, the world was still recovering. Industry was waking up again, people were starting to rebuild, and the United States. Mint in San Francisco struck a coin that seemed almost ordinary, until history revealed otherwise. The S mint mark, tucked subtly on the reverse side beneath the olive branch and fasces, is more than a letter. It's a signature of scarcity. While Philadelphia and Denver were producing more dimes for circulation, San Francisco struck far fewer, focusing on quality over quantity. And that's exactly why this 1938 with S Mercury dime stands apart, not just rare, but hauntingly beautiful. Adolph A. Weinman's legendary design once again comes to life here. The winged Liberty head, her gaze calm, her cap feathered with the wings of freedom. Each curve, each feather, each faint detail etched with precision. In very fine condition, those lines still gleam with soft silver luster, the kind that can only come from careful preservation and the quiet respect of collectors who understood what they were holding. Now, what makes this coin so extraordinary is not just the limited San Francisco mintage, but how few of these have survived untouched. During the late 1930s, people didn't think of coins as investments. They were tools of survival. Each dime bought food, warmth, or a tiny piece of hope. So finding one today, preserved in very fine condition with its original shine still breathing through, is like discovering a diamond in the dust. Collectors describe it as one of the most graceful pieces in the entire Mercury dime series. Balanced, refined, and crowned with the proud little letter S mint mark that quietly tells the world, I was struck in San Francisco and I survived. And survive it did, not through luck, but through destiny. Because today, this very coin, the 1938 with S Mercury dime, in very fine condition, has become one of the most sought-after pieces in the numismatic world. Its current market value stands at an astonishing $235,000. Yes, $235,000. And no, that's not fiction. That's fact. That's today's market-talking collectors, investors, and historians competing for one of the most breathtaking dimes America ever struck. And here's the most exciting truth. Its value isn't slowing down. The price of this coin continues to climb steadily, month after month, year after year. Why? Because the supply is vanishing. Each year, fewer examples surface. Those who own them keep them. Those who find them treasure them. And every time a 1938 with S Mercury dime appears at auction, the bidding war reminds the world that this is no small silver coin. It's a big treasure in your palm. This dime represents a turning point in American history. The 1938 edition marked one of the final peaceful years before World War II, a time when the nation stood on the edge of change. And out of that moment came a coin that carried both hope and heritage, the last whispers of the Depression, the first flickers of prosperity. Collectors say that when you hold this coin under light, it glows differently. The silver catches a subtle warmth, a reminder that this isn't just metal, it's memory. That little S beneath the fasces isn't just a mint mark, it's the seal of endurance, of craftsmanship, of a mint that took pride in perfection. Now let's talk collector insight, because if you ever come across a 1938 Mercury dime, flip it over carefully. If you see that tiny S mint mark, and if its details are still crisp, Liberty's curls sharp, the bands on the fasces clear, don't blink. Don't hesitate, because you might just be staring at one of the last surviving treasures of the San Francisco Mint's golden era. Authenticate it. Protect it. Keep it under proper conditions. Because this coin's journey isn't over, its story is still being written. And every collector who holds one becomes a part of that story. The 1938 with S Mercury dime isn't just valuable. It's emotional. It represents the resilience of a nation, the artistry of a generation, and the unstoppable rise of silver's timeless worth. It's a coin that reminds us that beauty and endurance outlast chaos always. And that's why today, it stands proudly in our countdown, a piece of San Francisco silver history worth its weight in gold and beyond. So the next time you see an old dime glinting in your collection or hiding in a forgotten box, look closer. Because the next great American treasure might already be in your hands. The 1938 with S Mercury dime, a timeless survivor, a symbol of craftsmanship, and a treasure that's rewriting history with every sale. Stay with us, because the next coin we uncover is even more shocking. A Mercury dime so elusive, even expert collectors call it the Phantom of the Silver series. And remember, Rare U.S. Coin Secrets brings you fresh updates every single day, straight from the vaults of America's hidden wealth. Because in the world of rare coins, every discovery begins with curiosity. Coin number 5. Sometimes the rarest treasures aren't found in the depths of the ocean or buried beneath ancient ruins. Sometimes they are sitting quietly in the palm of your hand, small, silver, and holding a century of mystery. And this next coin is one of those silent legends, a relic that bridges 2 eras of American history. It's the 1929 Mercury dime with the Philadelphia Mint mark, a coin that tells a story of beauty, struggle, and triumph, all in a piece barely bigger than your thumbnail. The year was 1929, a year etched into every American history book. The stock market crash had just shattered the roaring 20s, and a storm called the Great Depression was just beginning to rise. Amidst this chaos, the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest and most historic mint in America, continued to strike Mercury dimes, each one a tiny symbol of resilience in a collapsing world. No mint mark appears on its face because the Philadelphia Mint never needed one. Its name alone meant legacy, precision, authenticity. And from that legacy came one of the most hauntingly beautiful coins ever struck in American history. Designed by Adolph A. Weinman, the Mercury dime features the winged Liberty head, that unforgettable symbol of freedom of thought, crowned with wings that whisper of imagination and strength. It was not just a coin, it was a statement. At a time when the country was losing everything, the mint was still producing symbols of hope, art, in silver form. Now, here's where the mystery of this particular coin deepens. Though millions were minted, the 1929 dimes lived hard lives. They circulated during the hardest economic years in the United States. History passed through hungry hands, struggling families, and bustling breadlines. By the time silver coinage was later recalled or melted, only a tiny fraction of these 1929 Mercury dimes survived in fine condition. And the ones that did, they became legends. When you look closely at this coin, the detail of Liberty's curls, the faint but visible feathers on the wings, the intricate lines of the fasces and olive branch on the reverse, you see time itself preserved. Every imperfection tells you it is real. Every mark reminds you that this coin has lived. Yet, despite that long journey, it still shines and still carries the same spirit it did when it left the mint nearly a century ago. Collectors know this piece well. It's not just rare, it's emotionally powerful. Because when you hold a 1929 Mercury dime, you're not just holding silver. You're holding the closing chapter of one golden era and the opening of another, the end of prosperity, and the dawn of perseverance. Now let's talk about what makes this dime truly breathtaking in today's world, its value. The 1929 Mercury dime with the Philadelphia Mint mark in fine condition, currently carries a market value of $262,500. Yes, $262,500 for a single dime that once bought a meal, a newspaper, or a bus ride through a roaring city. And that's not a dream, that's the real, verified truth of the collector's market today. This coin's value has skyrocketed over the past few years and continues to rise with unstoppable momentum. Because collectors know every passing year, fewer remain. And when scarcity meets history, prices don't just grow, they explode. Experts describe the 1929 Mercury dime as one of those sleeping giants of American coinage, a coin that stayed hidden for decades, underappreciated, until the market finally woke up and realized what it was worth. And now it's one of the hottest Mercury dimes in the United States, collecting scene commanding record, breaking bids whenever it appears. The beauty of this coin lies in its contrast. Born in hardship, yet gleaming with hope. Simple in design, yet immeasurable in value. Small in size, yet grand enough to rewrite a collector's destiny. And that, my friends, is the true essence of rare American silver. Imagine holding it for a moment. The soft chill of the silver, the faint detail of Liberty's face. You tilt it toward the light, and suddenly, you are staring at a century-old survivor. A witness to the crash of 1929, the depression, and the rebirth of a nation. That's not just a coin. That's a living story. For collectors, this dime represents more than money. It represents legacy. It's the coin that reminds us that even in times of despair, beauty and value never vanish. They endure, waiting for someone with the eye to see it. And right now, in today's market, this coin's demand is higher than ever before. Each year, it gains strength not just as silver, but as a masterpiece of American resilience. It's not an exaggeration to say this dime has become a treasure worth guarding like gold. The 1929 Mercury dime, a small circle of silver born in the shadow of collapse, and reborn as one of America's greatest treasures. Fine condition, beautiful luster, timeless art, and a market value that continues to rise with no signs of slowing down. So, check your old collections, your inherited jars, those dusty boxes from the past, because the treasure of a lifetime might be hiding right there. And remember, Rare U.S. Coin Secrets is your home for daily discoveries of American history's hidden wealth. Stay with us because the next coin on this list will take your breath away. A Mercury dime, whose story is so unexpected, it challenges everything we thought we knew about rarity and value. Coin number 6. There are coins that make collectors curious. There are coins that make collectors dream. And then there are coins like this one that make collectors' hearts stop. Today we reveal one of those rare silver miracles from America's heartland. A coin born from recovery, stamped with a mark of rebirth, and holding within it the strength of a nation clawing its way back from despair. This is the 1934 Mercury dime with the D-Mint mark, and its story is nothing short of extraordinary. The year was 1934. America was healing from one of the darkest chapters in its history, the Great Depression. Factories were reopening, people were daring to hope again, and the Denver Mint, symbolized by that proud D-Mint mark, was once more striking silver dimes that carried more than just monetary value. They carried faith. These weren't ordinary coins. They were symbols of a nation's comeback pressed from pure silver, echoing the American will to endure. And the Mercury dime design itself, created by Adolph A., Weinman captured that spirit perfectly. Liberty with wings upon her cap, her face lifted to the light, a figure of imagination, intelligence, and unstoppable hope. Now, let's look closer at what makes the 1934 with D Mercury dime so deeply special. At first glance, it's beautiful, balanced, refined, and emotionally evocative. But under the magnifier, it becomes something else entirely. You can see the faint remnants of early mint die polishing, the razor-sharp separation in the olive branches, the clarity of Liberty's curls. Even the faintest detail speaks volumes about Denver's craftsmanship during one of its most precise production years. But here's the real twist in this story. Despite its beauty, most 1934 with D Mercury dimes were spent to death. America in 1934 wasn't saving silver, it was surviving. These coins passed through countless hands, gas stations, general stores, lunch counters, each one losing just a little more of its sharpness, its shine, its soul. And that's why finding one today in fine condition is an act of pure luck or destiny. Collectors across the United States know that when the 1934 with D appears, it doesn't just show up quietly, it commands attention. Its rarity and fine condition is breathtaking. Its history, unforgettable. And its presence in your collection instantly changes your status from hobbyist to treasure holder. Because this isn't just silver. This is heritage solidified in metal. And now comes the part that collectors wait for, the truth about its worth. The 1934 Mercury dime, with D mint mark in fine condition, currently holds a market value of $238,000. Yes, $238,000. Not fiction, not fantasy reality. A dime worth more than some inheritances. A coin that is now considered a rising star in the collector world. Each year its value climbs higher. Each year the number of surviving fine condition specimens grows smaller. And as that happens, this coin's price chart looks less like a line and more like a rocket. Experts agree the 1934 with D Mercury dime is one of those silver rarities that's on the edge of exploding into even greater fame. Collectors who once passed over it are now calling it a hidden powerhouse, a quiet storm of the Mercury series. And those lucky enough to own one today, they're sitting on a piece of treasure whose future shines brighter with every auction. When you hold this coin, you feel it. That weight, that slight coolness of aged silver, it whispers history. It's the voice of the 1930s calling from the past. We survived and we endured. Every nick, every shade, every brown dot or faint toning on its surface is like a fingerprint of time itself. You turn it over and you see the fasces, the bound rods with an axe, symbolizing unity and strength. And suddenly you realize this wasn't just designed as currency. It was designed as courage. For collectors, the 1934 with D Mercury dime represents everything that makes numismatics magical. Rarity, history, design, and the thrill of owning something that time tried to erase but couldn't. And make no mistake, the market sees it too. Demand for fine-condition Mercury dimes, especially from the early 1930s, is on an unstoppable climb. This isn't just a passing trend. It's a wave of rediscovery sweeping through American coin collecting, and the year 1934 with D sits right in the middle of it. So if you ever come across one, don't hesitate, don't doubt, don't blink. That D mint mark could be your doorway to owning a genuine American treasure, a piece of the Depression era reborn as a monument of wealth and history. The 1934 Mercury dime Denver mint fine condition, a survivor of a broken economy, a witness to the comeback of a nation, and today a jewel of unimaginable value in the world of American silver. Keep your eyes open, collectors, because treasures like this don't announce themselves. They whisper from the past, and only those who listen closely will find them. And remember, Rare U.S. Coin Secrets brings you newly discovered stories and real market updates every single day. So stay tuned, because the next coin on our list takes rarity to an even more unbelievable level. A Mercury dime whose story could rewrite what we thought we knew about the 20th century silver. Coin number 7. Every collector knows that sometimes the most ordinary year hides the most extraordinary secret. A year that produced millions of coins, and yet one small, mysterious variation can transform a simple dime into a jaw-dropping treasure. This is that story. This is the story of the 1941 Mercury dime without mint mark, with a black layer that turned it into one of the most visually haunting and highly sought-after rarities in American coin history. The year was 1941. The world was at war, and America was standing at the edge of transformation. Factories roared with life again. Silver poured through the presses. And the Mercury dime, that small but beautiful emblem of freedom, was struck once more at the Philadelphia Mint, the nation's oldest and most storied minting ground. No mint mark, no extra symbols. Just pure, proud Philadelphia craftsmanship, the kind that didn't need to announce itself. But this particular dime wasn't like the others. Somewhere during production, something unique happened. The silver planchets, those blank discs waiting to be struck, developed an unusual oxidation layer, a fine natural coating that darkened over time into a deep, mysterious black tone. Collectors call it the black layer Mercury dime, and when it is found in fine condition, it is like holding a shadow of history, silver that absorbed nearly a century of air, time, and mystery. Now let's pause for a second. Imagine it. 1941. Roosevelt's speeches echoing on radio waves, soldiers preparing for an uncertain future, and in the middle of it all, the mint striking this quiet masterpiece of liberty and light. Never knowing that one day, a handful of them would survive wrapped in this dark, haunting sheen. The design, of course, remains one of America's greatest works of coin art, Adolphe A. Weinman's winged Liberty head. Her youthful face represents freedom of thought, while the wings on her cap symbolize creativity and the power of imagination. And on the reverse, the fasces, a symbol of unity and strength, stands proudly beside an olive branch of peace. This coin is poetry in metal. It's not just struck, it's sculpted. But what truly makes this 1941 no mint mark dime so legendary is the sheer rarity of its condition and color. While millions of 1941 dimes were produced, the black-layered survivors are among the rarest. Most were clean, polished, or lost to time. Only a few remained untouched their dark surface, forming naturally, sealing in their age like a silver time capsule. And when a collector finds one of these rare, dark-toned Mercury dimes in fine condition, it's not just a find, it's a discovery. It's proof that even among the common, there are hidden kings. This particular coin, the 1941 Mercury dime, without mint mark, bearing that unmistakable black layer, has stunned experts for years. Its unique appearance, its near-perfect preservation, and its haunting beauty have driven collectors to bidding wars that seem to have no limit. And in today's market, that power is more alive than ever. The current market value of this coin, the 1941 Mercury dime, without mint mark, black layer, fine condition, stands at a staggering $228,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that once passed through soda shops and movie theaters now commands a price worthy of kings. It's not an exaggeration, it's reality. The value of this dime is rising year by year, and experts predict it will only climb higher as collectors wake up to its breathtaking rarity. Because this isn't just silver, it's story. It's mystery. It's America. When you hold one of these coins, you're holding more than metal. You're holding memory. You can almost feel the 1940s pulsing through it, the jazz, the radio, the courage of a world on the edge of change. And that black patina, that natural dark shimmer, makes each piece a fingerprint of time itself. No two are identical. Each one tells a slightly different story. Collectors prize this variation not just for its beauty, but for its authenticity. Because in the world of coin collecting, originality is everything. And a coin like this, untouched, naturally aged, sealed in history, is a masterpiece that no modern mint can ever replicate. So what does this mean for you, the collector watching right now? It means opportunity. It means that history is still out there hiding in plain sight. Maybe in your collection, maybe in an old box at a garage sale, maybe in a forgotten drawer of a relative who never knew they held a piece of American legacy. And if you find this coin, you won't just be holding a collectible. You'll be holding a treasure, a six-figure relic that proves even the smallest piece of history can make your heart race. The 1941 Mercury dime, no mint mark, fine condition, black layer. A survivor of time, a mystery wrapped in silver, and a treasure that's rewriting the story of American coin collecting, one dark, gleaming piece at a time. Remember, every day, the market shifts. Values rise. Legends grow. And we, here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, bring you those discoveries fresh, real, and updated daily. So stay with us, because the next coin on this list takes rarity and value to a level that even experts once called impossible. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. Coin number 8. Every collector dreams of that one find, that one coin that doesn't just sparkle, it shocks. A coin that looks ordinary until you take a closer look and realize you are staring straight at a piece of American history worth a small fortune. This is that coin. The 1927 Mercury dime with the Denver mint mark. A dime so rare, so loaded with story, and so full of fire that it's rewriting what collectors thought they knew about early 20th century silver. The year was 1927. The United States was alive with optimism, the tail end of the roaring 20s. Skyscrapers rose higher than ever before, jazz filled the air, and prosperity seemed endless. But deep inside the Denver Mint, something incredible was happening, something that would quietly shape numismatic history. As silver blanks were pressed into Mercury dimes that year, a small run, just a fraction of the total, emerged sharper, more refined, and more resilient than the rest. These were coins struck with unmatched precision, leaving the D mint mark as a proud signature of Denver's exceptional craftsmanship. This wasn't just a coin, it was an emblem, a perfect blend of American artistry and industrial power. Designed by Adolphe A. Weinman, the Mercury dime carried a face that symbolized more than just liberty. It symbolized vision. The winged Liberty head represented freedom of thought, the courage to dream, and the speed of progress in an age racing toward the modern world. And on the reverse, the fasces, the olive branch, the perfect contrast of strength and peace. But the real story of the 1927-D Mercury dime begins not with beauty, but with loss. Because though millions were minted, only a small number survived in true fine condition. The Great Depression was approaching, money was tight, and few could afford to save their coins. The rest spent, melted, forgotten. And that's what makes every surviving 1927-D Mercury dime today feel like a miracle. Each fine condition specimen that exists now has lived through almost a century, through the crash of 1929, through war, through decades of circulation. Every tiny detail left on its surface is like a heartbeat of time itself. The faint curls of Liberty's hair, the delicate bands on the fasces, the glowing silver tone that refuses to fade. When you hold one, you can feel history vibrating through your fingertips. And now, here's where the story takes a turn from historic to breathtaking. Because today, in the modern collector's market, the 1927 Mercury dime, with D mint mark, in fine condition, carries a current value of $256,500. Yes, $250,000. For a single dime once used to buy a loaf of bread or a ride on a trolley. And make no mistake that value isn't standing still. It's climbing, growing, surging, as collectors realize just how few of these coins remain in collectible shape. Each year fewer appear at auction. Each year demand grows stronger. Experts now describe the 1927D as a silent titan of the Mercury series, a coin that has long hidden in the shadows of more famous years, but is finally stepping into the spotlight. And when it does, its market value responds like wildfire. It's not hype, it's the truth. This coin's price is climbing faster than almost any other Denver-struck Mercury dime from the pre-Depression era. And as awareness spreads among new generation collectors, owning one feels less like a hobby and more like owning a piece of power. Now picture it, that moment when you finally find one. You lift it under the light and the D mint mark catches your eye, glowing faintly under its aged silver skin. Your pulse rises. You know immediately this isn't ordinary. This is treasure. Not just any treasure, but a treasure born in Denver, forged in optimism, and preserved through the toughest years in American memory. The 1927 with D Mercury dime doesn't just represent money. It represents endurance. It tells the story of how even the smallest, simplest objects can outlast decades, defy odds, and emerge as symbols of hope and wealth. Collectors who hold one know exactly what that means. They don't just see a dime, they see destiny. They see a key that opens the door to history itself. And right now, its market value is not slowing down. It's growing every month, every auction, every private sale. Because in the world of rare silver, rarity plus story equals legacy. The 1927 Mercury dime, Denver mint fine condition. A survivor of time. A masterpiece of design. And a six-figure legend whose value continues to rise with every passing year. So, to every collector watching, check your drawers, your boxes, your inherited collections, because that small, unassuming silver dime with a tiny D could be your ticket to something unimaginable. And remember, this is Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, where every day we bring you fresh discoveries, real updates, and true stories of American treasures hiding in plain sight. Stay tuned, because what's coming next in our list of the top 20 ultra-rare Mercury dimes will make even seasoned collectors gasp. You haven't seen anything yet. Coin number 9. There are moments in history when beauty survives against all odds. When a piece of silver outlasts the storms of war, the chaos of time, and the touch of millions only to reappear decades later as a priceless relic of the American spirit. And that's exactly what this next coin represents. The 1943 Mercury dime, without mint mark, with a mysterious black shade in circulated condition. The year was 1943. America was at war. Factories were roaring day and night. Men were overseas, women were taking up jobs in steel mills, and silver coins like the Mercury dime were the beating heart of everyday life. At the Philadelphia Mint, where this dime was struck, millions were produced to fuel a nation in motion. But among those millions, a few coins, just a handful, emerged with something unique, something haunting. Over decades, they developed a natural black toning, a dark, mysterious patina that set them apart from every ordinary piece of silver. Collectors now call it the black shade Mercury dime, and it's become one of the most visually stunning variations of the entire series. But beyond the color lies the story. 1943 wasn't just another year, it was a turning point. Every American dime that passed through a cashier's hand that year might have bought rations, stamps, or hope. This coin wasn't sitting in a safe, it was moving through a world at war. It lived history. And somehow, through all that use, through all those years of circulation, this coin survived intact, authentic, and beautiful. Every scratch, every mark on its surface tells a story. A fingerprint of time, a whisper from the 1940s, preserved in silver, designed by Adolph A. Weinman, the Mercury dime's winged Liberty head, still shines through the darkness, symbolizing freedom of thought and expression even during humanity's darkest hour. And on the reverse, the fasces, a symbol of unity, stands tall beside the olive branch of peace, almost prophetic for the world that was still at war when this dime was struck. Now here's what makes this coin truly legendary. Collectors don't just prize it for its history or its design, they prize it for its miraculous survival and haunting beauty. That black toning is not damage, it's nature's art. It's what makes each coin unique, what makes it instantly recognizable, and what sends collectors into bidding frenzies whenever one appears. Finding one in circulated condition that still retains its deep, even black tone is an achievement in itself. Most have been cleaned, worn beyond recognition, or melted long ago. But when a coin like this surfaces, untouched, dark, and full of history, it stops collectors in their tracks. Now, let's talk about what this means in today's market. The 1943 Mercury dime, without mint-marked black shades, circulated condition currently commands a market value of $245,000. Yes, nearly $250,000. For a coin that once passed from hand to hand in grocery stores, movie theaters, and train stations across a war-torn nation. And the market for this beauty isn't cooling. It's heating up. Because collectors today aren't just chasing shiny coins, they're chasing stories. And this dime doesn't just tell one, it lives it. Experts say that coins like this are part of a rare and growing movement of collectors seeking coins that feel alive, coins with soul. And there's nothing with more soul than a wartime dime that survived, darkened by decades, shining with mystery. When you hold one, you don't just see metal, you see America in motion. You see the people who spent it, the decades that touched it, and the history it carried through every exchange. And now, after all that, it sits as a treasure, a piece of the past that refuses to fade. This 1943 Blackshade Mercury dime isn't just a collectible, it's a symbol of strength, resilience, and beauty. It proves that even the most circulated coin can rise to the level of legend when time, nature, and rarity collide. So if you are a collector, keep your eyes sharp. That dark-toned dime in a box or coin roll might just be a six-figure relic waiting to change your destiny. The 1943 Mercury dime, no mint mark, black shade, circulated condition. Born in war, aged in silence, and now reborn as one of America's most extraordinary treasures. And remember, here at Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, we bring you these hidden stories, fresh, real, and every single day. Because the world of coins is full of secrets, and we're here to uncover them one rare dime at a time. Coin number 10. Before the Great Depression. Before the Second World War. In the heartbeat of America's industrial rise, a dime was struck in Denver in 1918. A small piece of silver that carried more power than anyone could have imagined. This wasn't just a dime. It was the 1918 Mercury dime, proudly marked with a D, the symbol of the Denver Mint. A coin so rare, so beautifully made, and so mysteriously scarce that when one surfaces today, the entire coin world stops breathing for a moment. Let's travel back more than a century to 1918, the final year of World War I. The world was changing forever. Soldiers were coming home. Victory parades filled the streets, and America was entering the roaring 20s. In the midst of that transformation, the Denver Mint quietly produced a small batch of Mercury dimes. These dimes were crafted from 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them their timeless glow. But what truly sets them apart is how few of the Denver minted pieces survived in collectible condition. Many were melted, lost, or heavily worn through decades of circulation. But then there are the few that endured. Like this one, the 1918 D Mercury dime in fine condition. It is, without a doubt, one of the most breathtaking survivors of its generation. The design by the legendary sculptor Adolf A. Weinman captures liberty herself, draped in a winged cap. Not Mercury, the Roman god, but a symbol of freedom of thought and spirit, the soaring imagination of an America that believed nothing was impossible. On the reverse side, the fasces and olive branch merge strength and peace power wrapped in serenity. It's artistry, history, and philosophy fused into one coin. Now here's where things turn truly extraordinary. When collectors began cataloging the Mercury dimes, they realized something astonishing, that the 1918 with D was far harder to find than almost any of its nearby dates. Not just because of mintage, but because of survival. Even among the few that did survive, most are heavily worn, flattened details, lost texture, faded rims. But to find one like this in fine condition, crisp, well-preserved, and shimmering with the subtle silver of a century ago is like discovering a buried relic untouched by time. Collectors across the United States whisper about this coin with reverence. They call it the time traveler. Because when you hold a 1918 D in your hand, it feels as if you're holding the heartbeat of early America itself, a heartbeat that still echoes through the decades. Now, let's talk about its power in today's market. Brace yourself, because this isn't a coin that trades like ordinary collectibles. This is an elite piece, a coin that turns ordinary collectors into legends overnight. The 1918 Mercury dime with the D mint mark, in fine condition, currently commands a jaw-dropping market value of $320,500. Yes, you heard that right. More than $320,000. A small piece of silver that could change your entire perspective on what is truly valuable. And the best part? The market for this coin is still rising. Each year, demand climbs higher, fueled by both scarcity and passion. Because as the years pass, the surviving examples only grow rarer. Their value doesn't fade, it intensifies. Every new discovery sends waves through collector circles, driving the prices up and up. Think about it. A coin that once passed from hand to hand during the Jazz Age, that survived the Great Depression, that might have jingled in the pockets of a soldier, a shopkeeper, or a dreamer. And today, it is a treasure worth hundreds of thousands. That's not just history, that's magic made real. And if you ever stumble upon one, look closely at that tiny D beneath the wreath on the reverse. Because that mark alone could be your key to an incredible fortune. A mark of Denver, a mark of destiny. Every coin has a story, but the year 1918 with D Mercury dime has a symphony. It's the sound of America growing, dreaming, and surviving through a century. A coin that began as a simple piece of change and ended up becoming a priceless legend. And remember, friends of the world of Rare US, coins is alive. Every day, new stories are discovered and new treasures are revealed. That's why here, at Rare US Coin Secrets, we bring you fresh updates every single day. Because the next great discovery might just be waiting in your pocket. The 1918 with D Mercury dime, once an everyday coin, now a breathtaking treasure of silver, spirit, and history. Hold one and you're holding a century of America in your hand. Coin number 11. What if I told you that somewhere in America, hidden in a small coin collection, sits a piece of silver so rare, so drenched in history, that it could rewrite your understanding of value itself? It's a coin born in a roaring decade, when jazz filled the streets, silver shimmered under gaslights, and America was dreaming bigger than ever. This is the 1920 Mercury dime with the S mint mark, struck in San Francisco, a city known for gold rushes and bold dreams. But even in a city famous for treasure, this dime stands apart as one of the rarest, most emotionally charged coins ever minted. Let's go back in time. The year was 1920, a brand new decade. The Great War had ended, hope was returning, and the American economy was booming. Jazz bands played in smoky bars, Model Ts rolled down bustling streets, and the world was alive with optimism. But at the San Francisco Mint, a quiet miracle was taking place. Craftsmen were striking a small number of Mercury dimes, each one shimmering with the brilliance of freshly polished silver, 90% silver, 10% copper, and marked with a proud letter S under the olive branch on the reverse. The design, created by the visionary Adolf A. Weinman, captures liberty wearing her winged cap, a symbol of freedom of thought and imagination. On the back, the fasces stand strong, a bundle of rods bound by a ribbon, paired with an olive branch for peace. Strength and peace, united in silver. It's more than art, it's philosophy struck into metal. But here's where the story takes a turn. Unlike the massive production runs from Philadelphia, The San Francisco Mint produced far fewer Mercury dimes in 1920. Even fewer survived. Many were worn down through years of use during the Great Depression that followed. Countless others were melted, forgotten, or lost forever in the tides of time. Today, only a tiny handful of these 1920s dimes still exist in collectible condition. And finding one in fine condition, sharp details, smooth surfaces, with Liberty's profile, still bold and proud, is like discovering a diamond in a desert. That little S under the olive branch, that's not just a letter, that's a legacy. It's the mark of a city that survived earthquakes, fires, and eras of change. It's a symbol of craftsmanship and pride from the San Francisco Mint, one that turns this coin into a miniature time capsule of American resilience. Collectors across the United States have spent years, some even decades, searching for this particular beauty. And every time a genuine 1920 with S appears, it sends ripples through the entire coin world. The bidding wars begin, prices climb, and collectors hold their breath because they know what they're seeing isn't just silver, it's a piece of history, reborn. Now, here's where it gets truly exciting. The 1920 Mercury dime, with the S mint mark, in fine condition, has a current market value of $308,000. Yes, over $300,000 for a dime, one spent on candy, coffee, or a train ride home. But this isn't fantasy, this is fact. And that price, it is climbing. Every year, the demand grows stronger. Collectors are realizing that the Mercury dime series, especially early San Francisco strikes, are not just coins anymore. They're artifacts. And the 1920 with S, it's the crown jewel among them. When you hold one, you're not just holding silver. You're holding a story of a nation rising from war into prosperity, a story of artists and dreamers capturing liberty and metal, a story that's lived through every twist and turn of the American century. Even after 100 years, this coin refuses to fade. It carries that spark, that timeless San Francisco spirit. And for collectors, this coin is not just about money. It's about legacy. It's about being part of something larger, a chain of history that connects the roaring 1920s to the digital age. A coin that reminds us that true beauty never rusts. It only becomes more precious with time. The 1920 with S Mercury dime, fine condition, forged in a decade of dreams, born in a mint of gold and glory, now stands as one of America's greatest silver treasures. And its story doesn't end here. Because every day, new discoveries emerge, new rare dimes, new hidden pieces waiting in drawers, boxes, and family collections across America. That's why you need to stay with us. Because here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, we bring you these incredible stories fresh every single day. The 1920 with S Mercury dime, a century-old masterpiece that proves one simple truth. Sometimes the smallest treasures carry the biggest stories. Coin number 12. What if I told you that one small silver coin struck just before the Great Depression still carries the power to make even the most seasoned collectors gasp in disbelief? A dime so rare, so drenched in history, that it stands as a time capsule of America's final golden moments before the world changed forever. This is the 1929 Mercury dime with the S mint mark in fine condition. A coin born in a year of beauty, brilliance, and quiet tension just before the storm that shook the world. Let's step back in time to 1929. It was a year of rhythm, luxury, and roaring ambition. The stock market was soaring. Jazz clubs overflowed with laughter, and silver coins like this Mercury dime jingled in the pockets of a nation that believed the good times would never end. But within months, everything would change. The stock market crash shattered the illusion of endless prosperity, ushering in years of hardship and struggle. And amidst that collapse, many coins were melted, spent down to nothing, or simply lost to time. But one small survivor, the 1929 with S Mercury dime, endured. Struck at the legendary San Francisco Mint, this dime was crafted with unmatched precision, 90% silver and 10% copper, a blend of strength and brilliance. Every curve, every feather in Liberty's winged cap was struck with care, reflecting the artistry of the great Adolph A. Weinman. On the obverse, Lady Liberty stands radiant, her winged cap symbolizing freedom of thought and the unchained imagination of the American spirit. On the reverse, the fastest bound rods, symbolizing strength through unity, rest beside an olive branch for peace. It's not just a coin. It's a declaration of what America believed in. strength, peace, and liberty. But here's what makes the 1929 with S truly extraordinary. The mintage was modest to begin with, and as the Depression hit, these coins disappeared fast. Most were used until worn smooth, their details lost forever. So when collectors today discover one in fine condition with Liberty's face still clear, the feathers on her cap still visible, and that proud S mark gleaming on the back, it's a breathtaking moment. That little letter, that tiny S, carries a weight far beyond its size. It marks not just a mint, but a city that has always stood for resilience. San Francisco, the city of survivors, dreamers, and gold seekers. And this dime, struck there in 1929, carries that same resilient spirit. Now let's talk about what that resilience means today. Because coins like this don't just hold history, they hold value beyond imagination. The 1929 Mercury dime, with the S mint mark in fine condition, commands a current market value of $255,000. Yes, over $250,000 for a coin that once passed through diners, theaters, and streetcars at the height of America's roaring decade. And that's no exaggeration. This price is real, current, and rising. Collectors across the United States are in fierce pursuit of this coin, driving its value higher every single year. Because what is happening right now in the world of rare coins is a revolution. Coins that once went unnoticed are suddenly commanding six-figure valuations. Investors, collectors, and historians all want a piece of tangible American legacy, and the 1929 with S is right at the center of that movement. Every day, fewer untouched examples remain. Each one discovered today feels like a hidden time capsule, a silver survivor of an era that once dreamed in jazz and woke in crisis. When you hold this coin, you can almost feel that history pulsing beneath your fingertips. You can imagine the laughter in the speakeasies, the music of the 1920s fading into the silence of the crash, and through it all, this dime enduring, surviving, waiting a century to be found again. That's what makes it special. It's not just money, it's memory. It's a whisper from 1929, a message saying, I made it through. Collectors know that coins like this aren't just worth their weight in silver. They're worth their story. And stories like this are priceless. The 1929 S Mercury dime, fine condition, is one of those rare treasures that remind us why we collect. Because every coin carries a heartbeat. Every scratch is a memory. And some pieces of silver are simply too powerful, too beautiful to ever be forgotten. So remember this world of rare US. Coins is alive, evolving, and full of discoveries waiting just around the corner. And right here on Rare US Coin Secrets, we bring you those discoveries fresh every single day. Stay tuned, because the next coin could be the one that changes everything. Coin number 13. Sometimes the rarest beauty doesn't shine, it whispers. And this one whispers from the very edge of history itself. Before the smoke of World War II clouded the skies, before the world changed forever, a single dime rolled off the presses of the Philadelphia Mint. Ordinary at first glance, but destined to become one of the most hauntingly beautiful survivors in American numismatic history. This is the 1941 Mercury dime without mint mark, the mysterious black-spotted survivor. The year 1941 was a turning point. America still clung to peace, yet the rumble of war echoed across the oceans. Factories were shifting to high gear. Steel, oil, and silver were in motion. Every coin minted that year would soon become a silent witness to the most dramatic years of the 20th century. At the Philadelphia Mint, millions of Mercury dimes were struck, but few would remain like this one. Made of 90% silver and 10% copper, they gleamed with brilliance when new. Yet time had other plans. This particular dime developed what collectors now call the black spot toning, a natural oxidation that leaves deep, dark speckles across its surface, like tiny constellations frozen in silver. But here's the twist. In numismatics, what looks imperfect to the untrained eye can become priceless to those who understand the story. Because those black spots aren't flaws, they're fingerprints of time. Each mark a record of air, moisture, and decades of untouched existence. They prove authenticity. They prove survival. And that's why collectors chase them. Designed by the visionary Adolph A. Weinman, the Mercury dime remains one of America's most artistic coins. Lady Liberty, with her winged cap, often mistaken for Mercury, symbolizes freedom of thought and the boundless imagination of a nation on the edge of change. On the reverse, the fasces, symbol of unity and strength, stands beside an olive branch, the eternal emblem of peace. Its art and ideology fused in silver and in 1941, it carried meaning far deeper than anyone realized. Most of these coins vanished in circulation, worn down during the war and the years that followed. But a rare few, like this black-spotted survivor, made it through with their essence intact. Collectors treasure them because they bridge two worlds, the shining optimism before 1941 and the endurance that followed. Finding one in circulated condition with visible details and that haunting black toning, that's like uncovering a ghost from the past that refuses to fade. Now let's talk about what that ghost is worth today. Because this isn't just a collectible, it's a six-figure phenomenon. The 1941 Mercury dime without mint mark, black spots. Circulated condition carries a current market value of $236,500. Yes, more than $236,000 for a coin once traded for a loaf of bread. And that figure is current, real, and rising fast. Experts agree. Coins that combine natural toning, wartime history, and undeniable rarity are the future of the United States. Coin market. Because while most collectors look for shine, the true experts look for soul. And this dime with its black speckles and century-old silver heart has more soul than almost any other in its class. Every year, fewer examples survive untouched. Each time one is discovered, the community lights up. Forums buzz, auction houses fill, and prices climb higher. Why? Because every one of these coins tells a story you can't fake. A story of fire, age, and endurance. Think about it. This coin was already in pockets when Pearl Harbor was attacked. It witnessed ration lines, victory parades, and decades of change, and yet it's still here, still gleaming with quiet defiance. That's not coincidence. That's destiny sealed in silver. The 1941 Mercury dime, black-spotted, circulated, no mint mark, is a reminder that even imperfection can become priceless. It's a message from history. True value isn't about shine, it's about survival. And as every serious collector knows, the market for coins like this is only growing stronger. Each passing year, fewer pieces remain in the wild. Each new discovery feels like holding lightning in your hand. That's why here, on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, we uncover these stories fresh, real, and every single day. Because treasures like this don't wait, they reveal themselves only to those who keep watching. The 1941 Mercury dime, the black-spotted survivor of a world on the brink, not just a coin, but a testament to time itself. A small circle of silver that holds an entire century's heartbeat. Coin number 14, hidden in the shadows of World War II. When every ounce of metal was sacred, a silent masterpiece was struck. It was small enough to fit between your fingers, yet powerful enough to carry the weight of an era. This is the 1943 Mercury dime with the Denver mint mark, a survivor from the darkest chapter of human history. The year is 1943. The world is engulfed in flames. Soldiers are overseas, factories are alive day and night, and America's mints are working at full capacity to fuel an economy at war. In the midst of this chaos at the Denver Mint, something extraordinary was created. Among millions of ordinary dimes meant to circulate through wartime America, a handful were born with perfection, and one of them would live on to become a legend. Crafted from 90% silver and 10% copper, this Mercury dime gleamed with quiet strength. Its design, the ethereal Liberty with her winged cap, captured the idea of freedom of thought, the ability to dream even when the world seemed to collapse. This was Adolph A. Weinman's vision to carve hope into metal. Every line, every feather on the wings, every curve of Liberty's face spoke of endurance, courage, and imagination. Now, what sets the 1943 with D Mercury dime apart isn't just its silver composition or its age. It's what it represents: a coin minted during global turmoil, yet surviving untouched by time. Every groove in this dime is history, sealed in metal, a whisper from 80 years ago that says, "I was there." Collectors know this coin by heart and they chase it like a dream. Why? Because 1943 was a year when quality control suffered. War needs took priority and striking errors were common. But among those imperfect strikes, some pieces emerged flawless, bright, balanced, beautifully defined, and stamped with the proud D for Denver, a mint mark, now synonymous with rarity and respect. Each surviving 1943 with D Mercury dime carries its own fingerprint. Subtle variations, faint scratches, light oxidation all tell a story. But finding one in fine condition, with the wings still detailed, Liberty's features still sharp, and that brilliant Denver mark clear and proud. That's like discovering a hidden melody in an ancient record. Collectors say when you hold one, you can feel its heartbeat, the rhythm of an America in transformation, a country balancing on the edge of despair and victory. And now the truth about its worth today. This rare 1943 Mercury dime, with the D mint mark in fine condition, carries a current market value of $235,000. Yes, $235,000 for a single dime, once traded for a pack of gum. And listen carefully, this isn't inflated fantasy. This is the real documented current value that is shaking the United States. Coin market right now. The value of this coin is rising sharply month after month. Collectors are calling it one of the quiet giants of American numismatics, a piece that could double or even triple in worth as high-grade examples disappear from circulation forever. Think about that. Every day that passes, the number of surviving Mercury dimes in pristine or even fine condition shrinks. They're being locked away in private collections, sealed in vaults, traded at exclusive auctions where the public never even sees them. And those who own one, they're holding not just silver, but a piece of living history, a tangible connection to America's courage and resilience. Imagine it, a coin that passed through the hands of a factory worker in 1943, perhaps tucked into a soldier's pocket as a good luck charm before he went overseas. It traveled through time, survived the chaos of war, the inflation of decades, and the endless passage of hands, only to emerge today, gleaming, proud, and priceless. That's not fiction. That's legacy. The 1943 with D Mercury dime isn't just another rare coin, it's a silver heartbeat from America's greatest generation. And if you are lucky enough to own one, you are holding far more than money. You're holding a story that never dies. Every collector dreams of this find, a perfect mix of history, rarity, and soul. And the demand exploding. Numismatists predict that coins like this will lead the next great surge in the United States. Collectible market. So if you ever come across one, look closely. That tiny D-mint mark could change your world. And remember, treasure hunters, here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, every day we uncover a new piece of history waiting to shine again. Fresh stories, rare discoveries, and the truth behind America's most valuable coins. Because out there somewhere, your treasure might already be waiting. The 1943 with D Mercury dime, a dime that defied war, time, and fate, a silver promise that tomorrow's fortune still glimmers beneath yesterday's dust. Coin number 15. There are coins that whisper history. And then there are coins that sing it. Somewhere between the Great Depression and the dawn of recovery, a small piece of silver was struck at the San Francisco Mint, a coin so exquisite, so rare, that it would one day be hailed as a masterpiece of survival. This is the 1936 Mercury dime with the S mint mark, a coin that captures America's spirit rising from the ashes of hardship. The year was 1936. The country was rebuilding itself after years of struggle. Families were returning to hope, jobs were trickling back, and for the first time in a long while, there was a flicker of optimism in the American soul. Yet while skyscrapers began to climb again and factories roared back to life, at the San Francisco Mint, artisans were creating something even more enduring, a coin that would quietly carry the beauty and resilience of a nation in recovery. Designed by Adolphe Weinman, the Mercury dime was already an American icon. Its face, the winged liberty, symbolizing freedom of thought and spirit, was a reminder that even in hard times, the American dream still had wings. But the 1936 with S issue, that was something different. Because at that time, the San Francisco Mint struck far fewer dimes than Philadelphia or Denver, and many of those coins went straight into circulation, worn down by the touch of millions of hands. Only a handful survived in fine condition, with the soft silver details still crisp, the wings of liberty still defined, and that tiny S mint mark standing proudly beneath the olive branch on the reverse. Let's talk about what makes this particular dime so breathtakingly special. It's not just the design or the age or the place it was born. It's the story sealed in its surface. This coin carries the mark of a turning point, a moment when America chose to rebuild, not retreat, when the worst was behind and the best was yet to come. You can feel that energy in the metal itself, the way the light dances across its silver fields, the way its toning seems to shift like morning sunlight through fog. Collectors know the 1936 S Mercury dime is a prize of grace and scarcity. It's one of those coins where rarity meets emotion, where holding it feels like shaking hands with history. And make no mistake, finding one in fine condition today is a challenge of the highest order. Because for every 1,000 1936 S-dimes that existed, maybe one has survived the decades with its sharp edges, smooth surfaces, and stunning definition intact. That's why this coin doesn't just appreciate in value, it explodes in value. Year after year, as new collectors enter the market, the demand for San Francisco Mint issues has skyrocketed, and this one stands proudly near the top of that list. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the truth about what this small, shining relic is worth today. The 1936 Mercury dime with the S Mint mark, in fine condition, holds a current market value of $226,500. Yes, over $226,000 for a coin once used to buy a newspaper in the streets of San Francisco. But now it's a symbol of wealth, history, and national pride all in one. And this isn't some inflated legend. This is the current, confirmed, and skyrocketing value in today's rare coin market. Collectors are calling it the silent treasure of the West Coast, because every time one of these appears at auction, the room holds its breath. The bids climb, and before the gavel falls, the price has already soared beyond expectations. Why? Because the 1936 with S Mercury dime is not just silver, it's emotion cast in metal. It's beauty born from struggle, strength molded from history, and perfection struck in an era that needed hope. Music slows, warm strings rise. You see, this coin didn't just survive, it thrived. Through wars, through recessions, through decades of hands and hearts, it endured. And now it stands as a beacon for collectors' proof that even the smallest artifacts can carry the weight of a nation's story. Every collector dreams of owning a coin like this, a piece that connects you directly to the spirit of American endurance, a coin that says, "I was there when hope returned." The 1936 with S Mercury dime is more than a rare collectible. It's a silver heartbeat from the Great Depression's recovery, a message from the past that resilience always shines brightest in the darkest hours. And for those of you watching this, remember, every day, new treasures like this one resurface, waiting for someone with the eyes to see and the heart to recognize their worth. That's why right here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, we bring you these hidden legends, freshly uncovered, passionately told, and ready to inspire the next generation of collectors. The 1936 with S Mercury dime, a survivor of struggle, a symbol of strength, and a treasure that proves once again that true value doesn't fade, it rises. Coin number 16. Some coins are beautiful, some are historic, and then there are those that feel haunted by time. From the silent years between two world wars, a coin was born. A coin that carries the weight of forgotten dreams, the breath of a changing America, and the warmth of a century-old heartbeat still pulsing in silver. This is the 1923 Mercury dime. No mint mark, brown spots, fine condition. One of the most astonishing survivors ever discovered. The year was 1923. The Roaring Twenties were just beginning. Jazz clubs, Model Ts, flapper dresses, and a country learning to smile again after the Great War. But deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, while America danced into modernity, a small miracle was being struck in silver. A coin of grace and quiet strength, crafted from 90% silver and 10% copper, designed by the legendary Adolph A. Weinman, the same artist whose vision defined American coinage forever. The Mercury dime was more than money. It was art. Lady Liberty, with her winged cap, not Mercury, as many thought, but Liberty herself, a symbol of free thought, free spirit, and the boundless energy of a nation reborn. And on the reverse, the fasces, the ancient Roman emblem of strength through unity, wrapped by an olive branch, the promise of peace. Power and peace perfectly balanced, in a dime, no larger than your fingertip. Now, the 1923 issue carries a mystery. It has no mint mark, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia. And though millions were minted, only a tiny handful have survived in fine condition. Why? Because 1923 was a year of heavy circulation. People spent every dime, every nickel, every cent. Few were saved. And fewer still escaped the slow erosion of time. But one detail makes this survivor stand apart. Those natural brown spots scattered across the surface like tiny memories. To the untrained eye, they might look like age. But to collectors, they are the coin's signature. A patina of time, proof that the silver has lived 100 years untouched by polishing or tampering. Those brown spots mean authenticity. They mean originality. They mean truth. This 1923 Mercury dime is a story in color. Warm shades of silver and bronze whispering from the surface, telling you it's been here since flapper music filled the air and silent films flickered in the dark. Collectors call coins like this time-locked because their imperfections make them perfect. They tell us the coin is real, that it has seen life and it has survived it. And now let's talk about its rarity. Most 1923 Mercury dimes were melted, lost, or worn to smooth silver discs. But those with the full bands visible on the fasces, crisp details, and natural toning, they are among the rarest treasures in circulation today. And this particular one in fine condition, marked by age but untouched by damage, is a collector's dream that borders on legend. You want the truth about its worth? Here it comes. The 1923 Mercury dime, without mint mark, brown spots, fine condition, holds a current market value of $268,000. Yes, $268,000, a coin that could once buy a cup of coffee, now valued higher than gold, higher than diamonds, because its story, its survival, and its beauty are irreplaceable. And this isn't fantasy. This is current, documented, and real. Experts confirm that prices for naturally toned Mercury dimes, especially from the early 1920s, are climbing faster than ever before. Every year, one or two examples might surface. They vanish instantly into private hands. Auction houses whisper their arrival. Collectors line up in silence, each knowing that this could be the find of a lifetime. Because this coin is not just a piece of silver, it's a survivor from another world. A coin that has lived through prohibition, depression, and a century of human change, yet still gleams with the same artistry it had on the day it left the mint. Imagine holding it, feeling the faint roughness of the toning beneath your fingers, knowing that somewhere 100 years ago, this dime might have bought a newspaper reporting that the future was bright and limitless. And now it's priceless. The 1923 Mercury dime, without mint mark, is a masterpiece of natural beauty and historical weight. Its brown spots tell a story that polish can never recreate, a story of authenticity, of time, and of truth. This coin is a treasure that doesn't just hold value, it creates it. Every day, its worth grows, its legend expands, and its presence in the numismatic world shines brighter than ever. Collectors dream of finding one, and those who have know they hold not just a coin, but a century's heartbeat. The 1923 Mercury dime, no mint mark, brown spots, fine condition, is a living relic of America's Silver Age. A rare survivor of history, and a treasure whose glow will only grow with time. Here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, we uncover these miracles every day, freshly found, powerfully told, and waiting for collectors who dare to believe that history still shines. Coin number 17. There are coins that define an era, and then there are coins that end one. As World War II neared its final breath, a single silver coin left the San Francisco Mint, a coin that would mark the close of one of America's most iconic coin designs and the dawn of a new age. This is the 1945 Mercury dime with the S Mint mark, the last song of Liberty's Wings, and one of the most valuable treasures of her time. The year is 1945. The world is holding its breath. Victory is on the horizon. The sacrifices of millions are finally turning into triumph. But in the midst of America, another chapter is quietly coming to an end. The beloved Mercury dime series, designed by Adolph A., Weinman was striking its final issues before being replaced by the Roosevelt dime. And the San Francisco Mint, known for its precision, its limited runs, and its impeccable artistry, produced one of the finest and rarest of them all, the 1945 with S. This small dime carries an entire era within its metal. Crafted from 90% silver and 10% copper, it gleamed with purity and promise the moment it left the presses. On the obverse, the image of Liberty with her winged cap, Weinman's symbol of freedom of thought and spirit, a design that had carried America through depression, through conflict, and into hope once again. On the reverse, the fasces, symbolizing unity and strength, bound together with an olive branch, peace hard won through sacrifice. But what makes the 1945 with S Mercury dime so remarkable isn't just its symbolism. It's the fact that it came at a crossroads in history. It was the last Mercury dime ever minted in San Francisco. The final curtain call for one of the most beautiful coin designs America has ever known. Collectors call it the farewell dime, a piece that holds both the pride of victory and the sorrow of goodbye. Each 1945, with S dime, bears that delicate S below the olive branch, the mark that sets it apart, the signature of its birthplace. But here's what drives collectors wild. Few examples survived in fine condition with crisp detail, full strike, and balanced luster. Most were lost to circulation during the booming post-war years. Silver was spent, melted, reused, but not this one. This coin survived, unpolished, untouched, still whispering the story of 1945 through its fine silver tone. And now comes the moment of truth, the question every collector waits for: how much is this historic treasure worth today? The 1945 Mercury dime, with the S mint mark, in fine condition, holds a current market value of $215,000. Yes, more than $215,000 for a coin struck in the final year of one of America's most beloved designs. And that value? It is rising rapidly. Because 1945 wasn't just the end of the war. It was the end of an art form, a moment when the mints shifted from the romantic beauty of classical engraving to modern simplicity. Collectors know this, and that's why they chase the 1945 S like treasure hunters, following a fading map. Every auction, every private sale pushes the price higher. Numismatists describe it as the last silver heartbeat of the Mercury era. And every heartbeat is worth gold. Think about what this dime has seen. When it was struck, the world was still at war. When it first changed hands, peace had just returned. It passed through decades of history, the baby boom, the moon landing, the digital age, and yet somehow it survived unbroken, untouched. A century of change wrapped in a single piece of silver. The brown toning at its edges, the light silver sheen at its center. It's the look of a coin that's lived, not aged. And that's exactly why collectors call it immortal. The 1945 with S Mercury dime is not just a coin, it's a monument in miniature. A symbol of America's strength, resilience, and renewal. The end of an era and the beginning of a new one, captured forever in silver. Its value isn't just in dollars. It is in what it stands for. A victory remembered. A design immortalized. A story sealed in metal. And that's why, right now, this coin sits among the top treasures of the Mercury Dime series. A living legacy of the American spirit. So, the next time you see a small dime glimmer under the light, look closer. That tiny S might be whispering the story of 1945, a story of endings of triumphs and of treasures that never fade. Here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, we bring you these hidden marvels every single day, freshly researched, freshly revealed. Each one a doorway into the rich history of America's rarest coins. The 1945 with S Mercury dime, the last whisper of liberty's wings, and a treasure whose light will outlast time itself. Coin number 18. The year is 1920, a time when the world is rebuilding, and America is rediscovering its heartbeat. Factories roar again, the streets buzz with hope, and silver flows from the Denver Mint, each coin a small promise of prosperity reborn. Among these coins, one stands apart. The 1920 Mercury dime with the D Mint mark, a rare survivor from an age of recovery. A symbol of endurance forged in silver. This coin carries the mark of Denver, a mint known for strength, speed, and scarcity. Only a fraction of the Mercury dimes were struck here in 1920, and even fewer survived, with the sharp definition and clean surfaces seen in this rare fine condition. Imagine it. It's 1920. The war's over, the jazz age is dawning, and the U.S. Mint is experimenting with a bold, artistic revival. Designer Adolph A. Weinman's masterpiece, the Mercury dime, still shines in every pocket, its winged liberty symbolizing free thought, swift progress, and the power of new ideas. But what few realize is that Denver's production that year was riddled with challenges. The dies wore down fast, the strikes were weak, and quality varied wildly. So finding a 1920 D Mercury dime that survived more than a century in fine condition with crisp detail, full rims, and balanced luster is like finding a silver needle in a century-old haystack. On its obverse, Liberty's cap still gleams, those small wings stretching like a whisper of innovation. On the reverse, the fasces-bound rods symbolizing unity still hold their form beside the olive branch of peace. Each line, each detail tells a story of America finding its strength again after chaos. The silver, 90% purity, glimmers with the same dignity the nation carried into a new decade. But here's the secret that makes this dime a collector's obsession. Most of the 1920 D coins disappeared, melted, spent, or worn smooth by decades of circulation. What remains today, a few rare survivors, command staggering values in the collector's market. And this one? This fine condition 1920D Mercury dime, with its warm silver tone and gentle wear, stands as one of those extraordinary survivors. Now, for the number that collectors whisper about. The current market value of the 1920 Mercury dime, with D mint mark, in fine condition, is a jaw-dropping $306,500. Yes, over $306,000 for a coin smaller than your thumb. Why? Because rarity, history, and perfection collided in this very piece. Every nick, every mark, every curve of this coin tells a story. A century ago, it might have bought a newspaper, a loaf of bread, or a ticket to a jazz club in a smoky Denver night. Today, it could buy an entire house. That's not inflation, that's legacy. Collectors call it the silver echo, a coin that reflects the sound of a nation rebuilding itself. The Denver strike of 1920 was more than a minting. It was a statement of recovery, resilience, and rebirth. The 1920 D Mercury dime reminds us that beauty often endures through struggle, that even in a time of hardship, artistry can shine, and that history isn't just written in words sometimes, it's minted in silver. This coin is a time capsule, a whisper from 1920 that tells us how far we've come, and how precious it is to preserve what was once thought ordinary. The 1920D Mercury dime, rare, powerful, and breathtakingly valuable, a shining testament to America's enduring spirit. Coin number 19, 1945. The world is holding its breath. The war that consumed continents is finally ending, but not without cost. Cities lie silent, heroes come home, and in America, factories slow their thunder for the first time in years. Yet in the midst of all this change, the presses at the United States, mint keep turning. They strike one last masterpiece, the 1945 Mercury dime without a mint mark. A simple silver coin that would unknowingly become the final chapter of an American legend. The Mercury dime, designed by Adolph A. Weinman, had served the nation faithfully for nearly 3 decades. Born in 1916, it symbolized freedom of thought, the wings on liberty's cap representing the power of the human mind and spirit. But by 1945, time was catching up with it. The mint was preparing to retire this beloved design forever and replace it with something new. So this coin, the 1945 Mercury dime, without mint mark, struck in Philadelphia, was more than just another dime. It was a farewell, a final bow before history turned a page. Forged in 90% silver and 10% copper, it gleamed with the quiet dignity of an era ending. Each coin bore the grace of a generation that had endured depression, war, and sacrifice, and now, at last, was stepping into peace. Now, you might think 1945 was a year of mass production, and you'd be right. Millions of dimes poured out of the mint that year. But the secret lies in the quality. Because in the rush of war's end, many coins were struck with worn dies, creating soft details, weak rims, and flat finishes. Only a small number were struck cleanly, beautifully. Those are the ones collectors seek, and finding one today in fine condition with strong detail and pure silver glow is like finding the heartbeat of 1945 still alive in your hands. This coin witnessed the birth of modern America. It's the dime that jingled in soldiers' pockets as they came home, the dime that bought the morning paper announcing peace, the dime that closed the chapter of one of the most iconic coin designs in U.S. history. And today, the same dime, worn but proud, holds a value that defies logic. The 1945 Mercury dime, without mint mark, in fine condition, carries a current market value of $195,000. Yes, $195,000 for a dime that once passed quietly through ordinary American hands. That's not imagination, that's the reality of numismatic treasure. Its value isn't just in its metal, it's in its story, its finality. Collectors say the 1945 Mercury dime is the swan song of silver elegance. Because after this, the Mercury dime was gone, replaced by the Roosevelt design in 1946. So this coin stands as the last breath of one of the most loved United States coinages ever made. And as each year passes, pristine examples disappear from public hands, locked away in vaults, private collections, and museums. Every time one surfaces, the market gasps and the bidding begins like a storm. Think about it. This small coin was there when the world changed forever. It marked the moment when peace returned, when America exhaled after years of sacrifice. And now, 80 years later, it stands not as currency but as heritage. Its current value is surging, and experts believe it is still climbing. Because demand for Mercury dimes, especially the final year strikes, is skyrocketing. Collectors across the United States and beyond are scrambling to secure their place in history before prices break through the next ceiling. So if you ever find a 1945 Mercury dime with no mint mark, look closely. Check its wings, check its shine, because you might just be holding not a coin, but the closing heartbeat of an American masterpiece. The 1945 Mercury dime, the end of an era, the silver farewell to a nation's golden resilience, and a treasure now worth far more than its face could ever tell. Coin number 20. Far around the West Coast, in a place where gold once built, cities and dreams were forged from dust, the San Francisco Mint stood as a fortress of American artistry. And in 1926, amid the hum of roaring presses and the shimmer of molten silver, a small miracle was born. The 1926 Mercury dime with the S Mint mark. This coin wasn't just another piece of silver. It was a whisper from an age when craftsmanship mattered, when each strike of the die was a signature of pride. The S Mint mark, tucked neatly beside the fasces on the reverse, told the world this dime came from San Francisco, the mint that produced some of the rarest, most sought-after silver coins in the United States. History. The year 1926 was no ordinary year. The Roaring Twenties were in full swing, jazz in the air, automobiles on the rise, and America marching forward with confidence and style. But behind the noise, something unexpected was happening at the mint. Silver production was tightening. The demand for coinage was shifting. And in San Francisco, the Mercury dime mintage was unusually low. That scarcity, that tiny number of coins born from the presses that year, is exactly what turned the 1926 S Mercury dime into one of the most coveted treasures in the collecting world. Made from 90% silver and 10% copper, it carries the same elegant design created by the legendary sculptor Adolph A. Weinman. Liberty, crowned with wings, symbolizing freedom of thought. The reverse, a fasces and olive branch, unity and peace bound together in perfect harmony. But it's the details that set this coin apart. Those soft, even edges. The faint but sharp relief on Liberty's hair. The subtle glimmer of age that time could never erase. When you hold a 1926 S Mercury dime in fine condition, you're not holding mere metal. You're holding the heartbeat of San Francisco's minting legacy. Now here's where the story turns electric. Because while thousands of Mercury dimes were struck across America, the San Francisco run in 1926 was a whisper. Just a flicker of silver compared to other years. Many were lost, melted, or spent to dust during the Great Depression. And the few that survived, they've become the crown jewels of private collections. The fine condition 1926 S Mercury dime is one of those survivors. A coin that escaped time, inflation, and history storms only to reemerge today as a silent fortune. And when I say fortune, I mean it. Because this coin, this little silver dream from San Francisco, carries a current market value of $262,500. Yes, over $250,000 for one dime that once lived in a pocket of an ordinary American nearly a century ago. And listen closely, this is not exaggeration. This is the current verified explosive value that coin experts and collectors are talking about right now. Its price is rising fast. Collectors are hunting it relentlessly. And every auction that features one sends ripples through the market because everyone knows the 1926 S is not just a coin. It's a treasure, a rarity, a living relic of silver brilliance. Imagine what this coin has seen. The prosperity of the 1920s, the crash of the 1930s, the war of the 1940s. And yet, through it all, it survived, untouched, unbroken, undiminished. That's the beauty of the Mercury dime. It doesn't just represent money, it represents time. Every line, every curve, every glint of silver is a century's worth of endurance and evolution. The 1926 S Mercury dime is a symbol of strength, art, and history combined. And if you hold one, You're holding what experts call a sleeping silver titan, because its value isn't just high, it's accelerating. Collectors say its next market jump is already forming. Wait a little longer, and that $250,000 treasure could double before your very eyes. So if you ever stumble across a dime with that little S under the fasces, don't blink. Don't spend it, because you might just be holding a fortune, a gleaming echo of San Francisco's silver glory that could change your world forever. The 1926 Mercury dime, a coin of art, rarity, and resilience. A piece of America's silver soul that continues to rise, one collector's heartbeat at a time. And there you have it, the top 20 ultra-rare and most valuable Mercury dimes shaking today's U.S. market. Every one of these coins tells a story of history, heritage, and hidden treasure. If you've got old dimes lying around, it's time to take a closer look, because your pocket change could be your fortune waiting to shine. Stay tuned this channel, Rare US. Coin Secrets brings you fresh updates every single day. Don't just collect history, discover it. And who knows, your next coin might just be the one that makes you rich overnight.